In 1603, during the bloodiest siege of the Osaka campaign, a young samurai named Hideki stood frozen on the battlefield. Around him, chaos. Arrows darkened the sky. Men screamed. Steel clashed against steel. His lord was surrounded. His brothers in arms were dying. And Hideki couldn't move. Not because of cowardice. Because of something worse. Mental paralysis. Too many threats. Too many decisions. Too many possible deaths, including his own. An older samurai named Taita grabbed his shoulder. Hideki, you see everything, so you see nothing. You fight everyone, so you fight no one. This is how warriors die. Then Taita did something strange. He closed his eyes for 3 seconds. When he opened them, his face was calm. Now I see only what's in front of me. Follow. They survived that day. And afterward, Hideki asked the question that would change his life. How do you stay calm when everything is falling apart? What Taita taught him wasn't just battlefield tactics. It was a complete system of mental training that prevented overwhelm, cultivated unshakable presence, and transformed ordinary men into warriors who could face any storm without breaking. Here's what nobody tells you: this wasn't magic. It was method. And that method works just as powerfully today as it did 400 years ago. Chapter 1: The problem every warrior faced. Feudal Japan was overwhelming by design. A samurai wasn't just a fighter. He was expected to master swordsmanship, archery, horseback riding, strategy, poetry, calligraphy, tea ceremony, and Zen philosophy. He had to serve his lord, protect his family, maintain his honor, and be ready to die at any moment. The demands were impossible. The stakes were absolute. One mistake could mean death. One moment of weakness could destroy your clan's reputation for generations. Most samurai crumbled under this pressure. They became rigid, anxious, hesitant. They overthought every decision. They saw threats everywhere. They were technically skilled but mentally fragmented. The great masters recognized this as the real enemy. Not the opposing army. The overwhelmed mind. Miyamoto Musashi, who won 60 duels without losing once, wrote, "You can have 10,000 techniques, but if your mind is disturbed, you will lose to a beginner with a clear mind." The question became, how do you train a mind to never be disturbed? How do you create warriors who remain calm in absolute chaos? The samurai developed specific practices. Not philosophy. Not theory. Actual daily training methods that rewired how the mind processes overwhelm. Chapter 2: The first practice, Ichigyo Zammai, single-pointed meditation. Every morning at 4 a.m., Hideki began his training with Taita. But they didn't start with swords. They started with sitting. Today, Taita said, you will count your breaths. 1 to 10. Then start again. If you lose count, start over. That's all. Hideki thought this would be easy. It was torture. By breath 3, his mind was already wandering. Thinking about yesterday's training. Worrying about tomorrow's duties. Replaying the battlefield chaos. Within 2 minutes, he'd lost count 5 times. This is the problem, Taita explained. Your mind jumps like a monkey. Battlefield, family, reputation, death, honor, technique. 10 things at once. The monkey mind cannot fight. Cannot think clearly. Cannot survive. The practice wasn't about achieving perfect concentration. It was about noticing when concentration breaks. Every time you notice your mind has wandered, Taita said, that's not failure. That's victory. Because in that moment of noticing, you've woken up. you become aware. And awareness is the warrior's greatest weapon. This is Ichigyo Zammai single-pointed meditation. Not forcing the mind to focus. Training the mind to notice when it's scattered, then gently returning it to one point. Modern neuroscience confirms what the samurai knew. This practice literally changes brain structure. It strengthens the prefrontal cortex, which controls attention. It quiets the default mode network, which generates anxious mental chatter. It builds the neural pathways that allow you to stay present under pressure. Hideki practiced this every morning for 30 minutes. For the first 2 weeks, he could barely make it to 10 breaths without losing count. His mind was chaos. But slowly, something shifted. The gaps between thoughts grew longer. The pull of distractions grew weaker. He started experiencing moments of pure presence. Just breathing. Just being. Nothing else. Good, take to observed. Now you're ready for the second practice. Chapter 3. The second practice, Seigen, focused vision. In battle, Taketon explained, overwhelm comes from seeing too much. 100 threats. 1,000 possibilities. The mind freezes trying to process everything. He placed a small stone on the ground 10 feet away. Stare at this stone. Only this stone. Let everything else blur. Hideki focused on the stone. His peripheral vision caught movement, shadows, other objects. His mind wanted to look at them. Notice the urge to look away, Taketon said. Don't fight it. Just notice. Then return to the stone. This is Seigen-focused vision training. The samurai discovered that where your eyes go, your mind follows. If your eyes jump between 10 threats, your mind fragments into 10 pieces. If your eyes hold steady on one point, your mind becomes unified. They train this daily. First with a stone. Then with the flame of a candle. Then with a small mark on a wall during meditation. The practice built the muscle of sustained attention. But Taketon added something crucial. This isn't about ignoring threats. It's about choosing what receives your full attention. In battle, you'll see the enemy in front of you completely. You'll be aware of others peripherally. But your focus never wavers from the immediate threat. After 1 month, Hideki noticed something profound. When he walked through crowded streets, he no longer felt bombarded by stimuli. His mind stayed calm. He could choose what to pay attention to. The world was still busy, but he wasn't overwhelmed by it. This is the secret, Taketon said. Overwhelm isn't caused by how much is happening around you. It's caused by trying to pay full attention to everything simultaneously. The trained warrior's mind is like a spotlight. It illuminates completely what matters. Everything else exists, but in darkness. Chapter 4. The third practice, Mizu No Kokoro, mind like water. One day during sword practice, Hideki made a mistake. He overextended on a strike. His opponent landed a hit with the wooden practice sword, right on his ribs. It hurt. Hideki's mind exploded with thoughts. I messed up. Everyone saw. I'm better than this. What if I make the same mistake in real combat? I need to be perfect. His next 5 exchanges were disasters. He was fighting his thoughts instead of his opponent. Take the call to stop. What just happened? I made a mistake and couldn't recover, Hideki admitted. No, you made a mistake, then made 5 more mistakes. Because after the first mistake, you weren't present anymore. You were in your head. Judging, worrying, analyzing. Meanwhile, your opponent was right here, and you weren't. Taketon led him to a small pond behind the dojo. He threw a stone into the water. Ripples spread outward, then the surface returned to stillness. This is Mizu No Kokoro, mind like water. When something disturbs the water, it responds completely. Ripples form. But then what happens? The water becomes still again, Hideki said. Exactly. The water doesn't hold onto the disturbance. It doesn't think, I should have moved differently. It simply returns to its natural state. This became Hideki's most challenging practice. Training the mind to process events fully, then release them completely. The method was simple but difficult. After any mistake, any setback, any disruption, first, acknowledge what happened. No denial. Face it directly. Second, feel whatever emotion arises. Anger, shame, fear. Let it move through you like ripples on water. Third, take one breath and release. Let the past be past. Fourth, return completely to the present moment. The untrained mind holds on to everything, take them explained. One mistake becomes a weight you carry into the next moment. Then another mistake, another weight. By midday, you're carrying 100 weights from the morning. This is overwhelm. The warrior's mind processes and releases. Each moment is fresh. Each situation is met with your full capacity because you're not carrying the past. Hideki practiced this in everything. When he dropped a bowl during dinner, he'd notice the flash of embarrassment, acknowledge it, release it. When he stumbled during training, same process. When he received criticism, same process. The practice built a remarkable capacity, emotional resilience without emotional suppression. He felt everything fully. He just didn't hold on to anything unnecessarily. Chapter 5. The fourth practice, Enzan No Metsuke, mountain watching gaze. 6 months into his training, Hideki faced multiple opponents in a practice scenario. 5 students against 1. The moment they surrounded him, old patterns returned. Eyes darting. Trying to watch everyone. Mind fragmenting. He was overwhelmed. Afterward, Takedom introduced a new practice. Stand here, he said, positioning Hideki in the center of the training hall. Now, soften your gaze. Don't focus hard on anything. Let your vision expand like you're looking at a distant mountain range. You're not trying to see one peak. You're seeing the whole landscape. This is Enzan No Metsuke, distant mountain gaze. A way of seeing that takes in everything without fixating on anything. When your gaze is soft and wide, Takedom explained, your awareness expands. You notice movement anywhere in your field of vision. Your mind doesn't get trapped analyzing one threat while another attacks. They train this daily. Hideki would stand with soft gaze while students moved around him, sometimes rapidly, sometimes slowly. His job wasn't to track anyone specifically. Just maintain wide awareness. At first, his eyes kept wanting to focus hard on individual people. The mind's instinct, identify each threat, assess each danger. But this instinct created overwhelm. With soft gaze, something magical happened. He could sense all 5 opponents simultaneously. Not by thinking about them. Through pure awareness. When anyone moved to attack, his body responded naturally because his awareness had never left them. This is how a master faces 10 opponents, Takedom said. Not by fighting 10 people. By maintaining one unified awareness that includes all 10. The mind isn't divided. It's expanded. Hideki began using this in daily life. Walking through busy markets with soft gaze. Navigating complex conversations while remaining aware of everyone's energy. Handling multiple responsibilities without mental fragmentation. The practice revealed a truth. Overwhelm happens when you try to focus hard on many things. Freedom happens when you expand awareness to include everything without gripping anything. Chapter 6. Integration: the 5 elements working together. After 1 year of training, Taketon arranged a final test. Not a formal examination. A real situation. A messenger arrived. Bandits were harassing travelers on a nearby road. The local magistrate requested samurai assistance. 3 bandits, all skilled fighters. Old Hideki would have drowned in anxiety. 3 opponents. Unknown skill levels. Possible death. His family's honor at stake. 1,000 concerns flooding his mind. New Hideki sat in meditation for 10 minutes. Ichigyo Zammai single-pointed mind. Just breathing. Coming fully present. Then he walked to the location, practicing Seigen-focused vision. Eyes soft but steady. Mind unified, not scattered. When he encountered the bandits, he didn't see 3 separate overwhelming threats. He used Enzan No Metsuke mountain watching gaze. Soft awareness expanding to include all 3. His mind stayed whole. The first bandit attacked. Hideki responded, fully present. He made a perfect counter. His sword struck the bandit's weapon from his hand. The second bandit rushed in. Hideki felt adrenaline spike, noticed it, and applied Mizu No Kokoro, mind like water. The emotion moved through him like ripples. Beneath it, he remained calm. He sidestepped, redirected the attack. The third bandit hesitated, seeing his companions disarmed so easily. Hideki stood in perfect stillness. No aggression. No fear. Just presence. Leave now, he said quietly. Or face a man whose mind you cannot disturb. Something in his complete calm, his unified awareness, his unshakable presence, made the choice obvious. The bandits retreated. Hideki returned to the dojo. Taketo was waiting. You're no longer the man who froze on the battlefield, the master observed. No, Hideki agreed. Now I understand. Overwhelm isn't created by the situation. It's created by the fragmented mind. When the mind is unified, present, and clear, no situation is overwhelming. There's just this moment and the appropriate response. Taketo nodded. Yes, this is what the greatest warriors discover. The secret isn't having no challenges. It's having an unshakable mind that meets every challenge from wholeness, not fragmentation. Most people experience life like this. They face one difficulty while worrying about 10 others. So they face 11 problems. Then they make a mistake and carry that mistake into the next moment. Now they face 12 problems. By the end of the day, they're drowning. The warrior's mind works differently. One situation at a time. Fully processed, fully released. The mind stays clear, present, available. This isn't superhuman. It's simply trained. He gestured to the practices they'd cultivated together. Ichigyo Zammai gives you a mind that can return to presence no matter how many times it wanders. Seigen gives you the power to unify attention instead of scattering it. Mizu No Kokoro gives you the ability to process and release instead of accumulating. Enzan No Metsuke gives you awareness that expands rather than contracts under pressure. Together, these practices create a mind that cannot be overwhelmed. Not because it faces fewer challenges. Because it's trained to meet every challenge with full capacity, full presence, full clarity. Hideki bowed deeply. Thank you, Master. Don't thank me, Taketo said. Thank yourself. Every morning you chose to sit. Every moment you chose to return to presence. Every time you released what was past. The practices are simple. Having the discipline to do them daily is rare. Now you understand why we say, the sword doesn't make the samurai. The mind does. A sharp blade wielded by a fragmented mind is useless. An ordinary blade wielded by a unified mind is unstoppable. Go now. Teach others. The world needs warriors who understand. True strength isn't about never being challenged. It's about never being mentally defeated by those challenges. It's about presence. Always presence. The samurai discovered something we're only now confirming through neuroscience. Overwhelm is trainable. Your mind's capacity to stay clear under pressure isn't fixed. It's a skill that develops through specific daily practices. These weren't philosophical concepts. They were practical techniques that built mental resilience the same way push-ups build physical strength. 4 centuries later, we face different battles. But the same truth applies. The fragmented mind loses. The present mind prevails. The training is simple. The commitment is everything. Begin.